here so we can get going because I'm sure everybody has things to do and such like that. Anyway, thanks everybody for this presentation. This is Alex's idea. I just want to say that Alex has been a dream sculptor. He has been keeping everybody up to date on Facebook and is very enthusiastic about his subject. So this has been really good. And I also just wanted to thank two people who are joining. Well, one person who has joined us and another person who might be joining us. We have Michael Charney, who basically, because of his generosity, made this come true. And I'm so glad that he's here to get this update about the sculpture. And also I just wanted to mention Bill Grissom, the former president of Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, is supposed to be joining us. And he has been a very strong supporter from the outset of the organization. And I just wanted to thank him for his support. And also I want to thank everybody else who's contributed to this statue, but I'm not going to go through all the different people at this time. So anyway, at this point, I'll turn it over to Alex, and he can tell you about the sculpture.
Okay, well, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for selecting me to be the sculptor to create this piece, which is very humbling for me. And also, thank you, Ross, again, for the tour that you gave me that weekend that I stood over there in Pennsylvania. I learned a lot more about Thaddeus Stevens, and I came back more inspired to create this piece. As you see, this is what I've been doing so far. This is like the first stage. I want to get everything into one, everything to be like up to a stage where I can always then go back and start now working on more details. So this is kind of like the second approach. The first one was just the blocking in that we call, which is just messing in the clay. And now it's getting a little bit more of the likeness, more like human-like forms. And later on, these will come into getting more of Thaddeus Stevens' likeness and creating more of the details on the clothing and everything else that is going to involve in this piece. So thank you again, guys, for joining us, and it's glad to see many of you that I met in Pennsylvania again. And yeah, I'm open to any questions. If you want me to bring the camera closer, I'm more than willing to do that. So yeah, I'm just here to give you guys a report on what's happening with the sculpture. Oops. Sure.
I'd like to see a little bit closer of the face if possible.
Sure. Let's see.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's right. Like this, we're all learning.
I know. We had a suggestion that maybe the eyes were a little squinty before. It looks like you took care of that.
Yes, and I will create a highlight. I put
Oh man.
kind of like a notation there. I don't know if you see that little white space there, but I'm gonna make that bigger. So when the sun hits, it actually looks like the glossiness of the eye. So it looks like more realistic later on.
Yeah, I think.
And I have to work on the hair, create more texture.
Yeah, I think that's a very, obviously with Thaddeus Stevens, it's always a challenge because a lot of his pictures are really mean looking. So I think you really sort of captured a more human face myself. I don't know what other people think about Thaddeus, the face.
What year is this supposed to be of his life?
Well, I'm going based on this picture back there, mostly.
That was in his 60s. Most of the photographs of him are in his 60s because that's when he was most famous, from the age of 66 to 76. the last 10 years of his life.
The face is really starting to look like Stevens, Alex.
Yes.
At risk of sounding a little rude, I don't mean to sound invasive. How's the club foot doing?
Oh, I can show you. Well, I haven't. This as far as I have gone, so I still need to work on the waist down.
Yeah.
But this is what you can see so far. It's just a blocking in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's looking clubbish. Good.
So can you give us a rundown on the schedule of when you'll be through with the clay model, and that will be ready for going to casting, and then when the casting should be ready?
Yes, well, I'm aiming maybe for next spring, or maybe like by February of next year, it should be all complete. And then the foundry needs about 5 to 6 months to work on it. So based on my calculations, maybe by the end of December, I should have the bronze sculpture in the studio. So if we need it before April, I can always take it. But I'll keep you posted on if there's any changes on the dates.
Now, I noticed the hand is clenched like that. I believe from your description when you were first talking about this that there's supposed to be some papers there representing the amendments.
We have the 14th Amendment,
Right.
which I'm trying to see if I can make it like to look like an actual paper, like handwritten.
Huh?
Put it in his hand so people can read it.
Oh, so it would be facing out. It wouldn't be facing him.
It'll be facing out, yes.
Okay, so they could see 14th Amendment or something like that. That'd be very cool.
Great. Alex, on a personal note, maybe others asked you this before I joined the meeting, but how are you and your family faring through the pandemic, and have you found this a hindrance to your work? I mean, I'm assuming, like many of us, that you've been spending a lot more time in your studio or at home lately.
Yes, well, thankfully, it hasn't changed our way of living, because since I homeschool my kids till like 3 p.m., so I was always home during the day. You know, it was my wife's schedule that has changed a little bit because she does marketing for different companies here. So just now she's working from home, which in a way has been helping us a lot more. Now she, on her free time, she's helping me with the homeschooling, and I can come and work on the sculpture a lot more hours than before. And thankfully I was able to order all the supplies before this happened, so there's a need for me to be waiting on shipping or going to any art store to try to get the materials. So this is not affecting the sculpture process at all. Yeah.
You're all healthy in your family. Everyone's
Yes,
doing well.
thankfully we are. We're going maybe grocery shopping every 2 weeks, and I'm the one that goes because I don't want my wife or kids to be, exposed. But yeah, taking all the precautions needed, and yeah, thankfully we're fine and healthy. Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it.
And surviving the tornadoes. So,
Well,
Are there any plans to, when the statue was placed, to create any obstacles for vandals or defacing it by people who might, for either juvenile or political reasons, want to attack the statue?
well, I don't know if Alex wants to talk to this, but I'll throw in what I know at this time. Actually, that may be a good idea. I hadn't really thought of that. I was more just sort of getting into where we're going to place it, and the prospect or when we were going to have it finished by Alex. The place that we're looking at right now is in a very prominent corner of Gettysburg, right in front of the courthouse, and I think it would be a little bit too obvious to vandalize it there, but you never know. Do you have any particular suggestions, Michael, as to what we might do? Do you want to have it sort of fenced in or something like that?
Maybe some sort of fence that has a gate to open so people can get close, but at night could be locked in a way that people won't drive by and throw paint on it or whatever forms of vandalism. I don't know how popular or unpopular the statue will actually be.
Well, you know, you have a point. As you probably well know, Michael, there's a lot of neo-Confederates out there, and they're kind of mean people. So that may be something that we want to look into. I don't know if I want to have a chain link fence. That would sort of take away from the beauty.
Chain link one, a decorative fence.
A what?
A decorative one.
A decorative fence.
Like some of the ones in Charleston or South Savannah, you know, that are effective, but they don't look like tacky.
Okay. What do you think about that, Alex, from a artistic point of view?
Well, I was just thinking about the space, if that's a location where we're installing, I don't know if we have enough space to create that kind of like fencing or protection for it. Unless we have a pedestal where we can raise him a little bit higher, but I don't know, because I was thinking maybe a fence can also symbolize maybe like he's in prison. Or, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to be in prison. Yeah, thanks, Michael, for bringing that up, because that might be a consideration, particularly being in Gettysburg.
The other thing I was thinking about, since it's going to be in Gettysburg, is how can we connect all these school groups that go to the battlefield and encourage them to go visit the statue and learn about Thaddeus Stevens. I don't have an answer for that, but that might increase the interest and impact.
Right. Yeah, you have a good point. We could, you know, contact the Pennsylvania Teachers Educational Association, you know, and let this be known. I mean, he is known as the father of public education in Pennsylvania. So that definitely is something that we should, you know, push for, is to let school groups know that this will be there. And
Ross, can I suggest that there is a National Federation of Tour Guide Associations?
there is.
Yes. For everybody else, I'm in Washington, D.C., and I give tours in the Capitol building. And I know many of the leaders of the tour guides, and they are quite organized. And so they would be among those coming to the battlefield. The tour companies hire them as contractors, but they educate each other. There's a wonderful organization.
That's Steve Livengood, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, I'll definitely, maybe I'll talk to you more about that. You know,
Yes,
as time gets a little closer.
I think Ross is already aware, because we have a lot of this in the local newspapers, along those lines, that at least the regional bus tour operators company and the bus drivers are in close communication with the tourism bureau called Destination Gettysburg in the town, and the borough council, and some other more aggressive organizations. Some of the theaters work very closely with the bus companies. And I've also noticed on another note that a lot of Boy Scout groups, even some Cub Scout groups, walk through the town a lot, much more than other visitors. And they walk with the Scoutmasters. I don't know what the future of the Boy Scouts might be. It's looking rather checkered at the moment, but there's another, because I always see them go right past that place at the county courthouse where we would like the statue to be.
All right. I also just want to mention at this time that when Alex has the clay model finished, I'm going to be making a trip down to Chattanooga not on a choo-choo though, but in a car. And
We can go to the choo-choo. We're like 20 minutes away.
oh, it's only 20 minutes. And also George will be joining me, I guess. You know, and he might be sitting in the back seat. I don't know. But you know, if other people would like to join us, I mean, we can probably make accommodations, for an actual in-person inspection of the statue. So Valerie, you're our artist on the on this side. Do you have any comments?
Alex, I love the way you fleshed out his face.
Oh, yes.
When we got the initial view of it, it looked very skeletal.
Yes.
But I see he's really coming to life.
It's on the card now.
Okay. Yes, the initial images that I shared with you, I was mostly focusing on the bony landmarks, which are, here, this area, and I was trying to capture that because if I get that structure right, then the likeness will come easily later on. So yeah, the first images was just capturing the anatomy of his face.
Oh, well, there seems to be a text message from Nadia from New Jersey. I guess she doesn't have a voice here. And she says, Thaddeus appears to be leaning. Is he being structured in a presentational setting? Do you want to, you explained this when you made your offer. You want to say what he is doing? And he looks like he's going to sort of take off.
Yeah, he's actually leaning forward because for me, the more I read about Thaddeus Stevens was that he was always on the go. He would never stand still. He was always looking for ways how to move forward. So that's the reason of him. The whole pose is of him about to take the next step.
See, in the full-length maquette from the side, it looks like he's in full stride with the wind-blown coattails. It's very dynamic.
Yes, I'll bring it.
Maybe you could show the maquette. I agree with Valerie, but I don't about the face. But yeah, there he is. Yeah, turn it side. Yeah.
Do you have that coat sort of flaring up like that? On the big one, do you have the coat sort of flaring up?
What was that?
Do you have the coat flaring up like you do in the maquette?
Not yet.
Okay, but that's what you plan on.
I will add it. It's going to come from out here.
Okay.
Yes.
Alex is waiting for another tornado to catch the coattails, obviously. Yeah, I agree with Valerie. I don't have the trained artist's eye that Valerie has, but I don't think I've ever seen a painting or representation of Thaddeus looking so full in the face. In the maquette, I agree, he does look more haggard. I like the haggard look, but you can always, it's easier to take away, isn't it, than to add, I don't know.
Yes.
So there's two, slight difference of opinion, but he does, it's wonderful to see him. So would you say ratio-wise or percentage, how much larger than life this statue is?
Well, it's actually life size.
So it is life size?
Yes. Well, if we count the base up to the hair, it's about 6'3", 6'4". Yes. So his actual height is 6 feet, but I'm adding extra inches for the hair and an inch and a half base.
Right. The statue specifications is that it does have a base so it can sit on its own, so that we can put it wherever and maybe drill some holes through it and actually anchor it. So, we won't have to build a pedestal. Now, there's sort of pros and cons to having pedestals. And the thing with what I'm trying, I would like, we can comment on this, is that having it right there on the street level makes it more accessible to people. That he's actually a person they can relate to, rather than some sort of God figure.
I agree with that. I really like that.
Good.
Alex, could you take the camera and just go over the details? Up close to the face and then down to the hands and down to the face. Just show us the whole thing little by little up close. And
Okay.
that you're the dominant, so that you're the one displayed.
Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Trying to see if I can get it as close as I can. So the eyes, I might need to do more work on that. The nose, there's a few things that I've been looking at the picture that I have to refine, like the nostril area, that I need to create more of that. Lips, they're about there. This week I was working on the clothing part. So let's see. Now, the right hand, I haven't worked on that yet. I'm just creating messing in the folding. So the hands, I still need to work on the anatomy of that. Then the other arm is here. And this hand as well, I have to work on that. The vest, I still have to, all that I'm just messing in to later start creating more texture and like the folding. Let's see if I can change this other angle so you guys can see it from the other side. So that's the profile. And if you guys notice, I did a slight change to the pose on his face. Like he's moving a little bit to the side, kind of like if he's ready to like hear what you have to say, like he's attentive. You know? So I make kind of like a reflective, kind of like a listening. Pose there. And now let's switch to the other side.
We got a message from Nadia. Good profile. Definitely looks Thaddeus. Good job so far.
Oh, thank you. And I won't show you the back yet here because there's not much work done in the back, but well, I think I can try.
Alex, it's interesting, when you have the camera up close,
Yes.
and not at an up angle, his face, maybe that's an optical thing. As you move the camera down from his face, the face looks fuller and heavier. I'm not sure why that.
There. So from here
Yeah,
to here.
right. So it's the play of light, isn't it?
Yes. And probably also there's some distortion happening with the lens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the, in the clay that you have, I realize it's still fairly early, And you've got, what, a couple more months at least where you're going to be working with the clay?
Yes.
I like this rough-hewn quality. I hope it doesn't lose that entirely.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave textures like, let's see if you can see it, like this in some areas.
Yeah.
Like some will be a little bit smooth, and others I'm going to like leave this type of texture. Also the face, I'm planning to kind of like leave it. I kind of like the texture. I don't know if you guys agree.
Well, there's a rugged, rough-hewn quality that if, for example, it were a statue of his colleague, Senator Charles Sumner, I'd say make it slick, make it smooth surface as you polish it. But Stevens was such a down-to-earth, craggy, textured person.
Yeah, Sumner thought of himself as handsome, which he probably was, and Stevens is almost the opposite of that. I quite agree with you.
We don't see too many representations of Stevens' face where he's not scowling.
Yeah.
You wonder what he would look like if he smiled once in a while. Although Ross, that Eichholz portrait at the college of the younger Stevens with a blonde wig, he looks more sanguine, doesn't he? Looks happier anyway.
Oh, well, that's what I call his interior decorator picture. It hardly looks like him.
Right, rosy cheeks and a blonde wig. Is that the one in the college president's house?
I think there's actually two. There's one that's in the college president's house, and maybe both of them are.
And maybe there's one in Penn Hall.
Yeah, we have a person trying to get on who doesn't seem to be able to.
Let's see.
To get it's Carolyn Quadrella. Yeah. Well, or maybe not. Let's see. 717 number, I guess.
Yeah. There's Clinton. I don't see Karen.
No. Just trying to figure.
Ross, is it Carolyn?
I believe so.
No. Because she and her husband lived in Gettysburg many years
Yeah,
ago.
they might have a 717 number. Actually, I guess I'm gonna have to call her up to walk her through it, and how about if I get in touch with you, Alex, in about a half an hour, and maybe you could just show her the thing, if I can get her on Zoom.
Okay.
So anyway, anybody have any other more questions for Alex before I go to calling up Carolyn? Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us today. And I think this was very exciting. So let's all give a little hand for Alex.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for letting us visit your studio.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Let's see if we can do this maybe like a bi-monthly where you guys can see the process. I'm up to that, yeah.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Maybe we'll get better at using Zoom. Okay, thanks a lot, Alex.
Well, thank you,
you,
guys.
Alex.
Good day.
Great idea.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye.
Thank you.
Keep safe, everyone. Thank you, Alex.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.